Okay, so I want to take a look and see if the right-wing podcasters will have any effect whatsoever on the MAGA faithful, because right now is rocky time, and right now is also a time where a lot of them are waking up, if you will. I mean, I kind of hate to say it that way because it doesn't really feel like it. It still feels like that they're, I don't know. I'm trying not to be, you're all stupid idiots and fools, and I'm trying not to do that right now. So I'm trying to, because mind you, here's the thing, to be perfectly honest. Even if they all come to some grand realization as of today or even tomorrow, there is still a part of me that says, too little too late for me. And the reason it's too little too late for me is because for you to believe him enough to vote for him 3 times, even 1 time, there's something going wrong in your mental processes. And mind you, all of them are not stupid and knuckle dragging, mouth breathing type of people, these educated people. And so, well anyway, it's just, I can't. I know people who are Trump supporters. And if you don't talk about Trump or politics whatsoever, then your conversations are not that bad, We get along. But when it's just that one little thing that makes me think, what in the world is going on between your ears that you said, yep, let's vote for him. I can see if you voted for him 1 time because you were tired of the status quo and politicians are all liars and let's get the outsider and all that type of garbage. I could almost see that, but at the same time, no. Because he said the very first thing out of his mouth, he wants to build a country or a wall between us and Mexico and make them pay for it. He was also the birth certificate guy, remember that? So those are the types of things that just make me think, what in the world is going on with you? That you can look at him and say, yeah, I'll have some of that, please. Because if you are of if someone walked up to you and said, hey, I don't think you belong in this country, let me see your birth certificate, you'd feel some kind of way about that. I don't care who you voted for. So, but the Joe Rogans and the Theo Vaughns and all of these Dubros are all thinking this is one of them. What's the child name? It doesn't matter. He said, this is not what I voted for. You said you were going to end wars, not start wars. You said you were going to decrease the deficit, not increase the deficit. You were going to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. To which I say, when did he say that, first of all? I mean, he might have said it in one of his rallies. I don't know. I don't watch his rallies. But the thing is, he's been president before. Did he drive down the deficit the first time? No, he drove up the deficit the first time. So what made you think he was going to drive it down this time? Mind you, his tax plan from last time was set to expire. All of a sudden he becomes president and they just triple down on what they did before. To which these right-wing podcasters maybe should admit that the reason they support him is because they didn't want to pay higher taxes. Because that's why all the rappers supported him. Anyway, will they change any of the MAGA minds? Because this is where they get the news from. So, let's see. because he's got a spell on these people. But let's see. The Empress first card, abundance, a lot of abundance, a lot of growth potential there too. So we may be seeing some possibilities. Now, mind you, the Empress is something that takes time because you have to give birth to this thing. So it has to grow and form and blah, 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 blah. So I think this is, I don't think Trump's going anywhere. And at the same time, I did a reading. I did it off camera, just as kind of morbid curiosity. And I said, is he going to finish his term? All 4 years, I get the Three of Swords, which means no, could be a heart issue. And if it's not health, I just don't see him going anywhere because, mind you, this is why I didn't want to read on him right after the election, because it was going to be all the same thing. Is, oh my God, are they going to investigate? Are they going to overturn? Is he going to be illegitimate? Is it no to none of that? I don't believe any of those things. I don't believe they're investigating because, mind you, they told Kamala Harris not to say anything. He said he rigged the election 5 times and nobody did anything. There was a guy early on in his term that wanted to impeach him, and then all the Democrats called him a fool and told him to stop being silly. And it's like these little bitty things that just keep adding up, that just tells me that the Democrats are getting further and further and further away from trying to investigate something. Now, you may say, well, they're the majority. They don't have this committee and that committee. I don't care. Say it, at least. This needs to be investigated, and then at least attempt. If it's shot down, it's shot down. But you at the least need to start looking at something. You have to put some wheels in motion. And if you're waiting for him to not have the majority or not have the DOJ or not have the this, that, and the other thing, I just don't see it happening. But when it comes to his support, he doesn't care what they think because he has no more elections to win. And so there is something coming, though. And this is what I said all that to say this. This takes time. It takes growth. And so this tells me he's probably going to be there for at least another 9 months at least. And so this is going to take time for it to form. And then there's the King of Cups. There's some guys here that may be driving this home. King of Cups is like public speakers for me, but they're more motivational in their speech, which means they're going to manipulate the audience. Not manipulate in a bad way, but just manipulate the audience. But there's the Ten of Swords. So will it be effective? Well, let's see what comes with it first. There's the Emperor. Power and structure. 5 of Wands. Well, this says it gets ugly because the 5 of Wands is conflict. 10 of Swords is like an ending and a ruin to something. So this grows and grows and bubbles and then creates a ruin. Now, here's the thing, because these are minor arcana, so it's not like the most devastating thing in the world. I think by the time you see these effects, you have already seen the fight and the tower starting to crumble and fall. So this is like the aftermath. This is what you get afterwards. The 10 of Swords is something you should see coming. You often don't because it's backstabbing, but the 5 of Wands is something you should see coming, but you often don't because sometimes you're just in the middle of the fight all of a sudden. But if you stood back and thought about it, these things are happening now because he's getting a $200 million ballroom and then cutting off Snap at the same time. And so this is going to have an effect upon people's long-term view of Donald John Trump. And they're saying, hey, why is it that you're so comfortable with us not having X, Y, and Z, but you can get a whole golden ballroom and throw a great Gatsby party? And so this is this opulence, that emperor mentality to where you're king, may start to wear on people, and it's wearing on them now, and then by the time the cookie crumbles or the tower falls, this is the aftermath. the conflict and the ruin. Knight of Pentacles and the Emperor, it's a slow growth. But that structure is on its way. And so, will they change the minds? I don't think it's them. I think it's the circumstance, because the Empress is surrounded by the Garden of Eden. And so it's a circumstance. It's not the podcasters. The podcasters will be part of it, because they add to the discourse, and they add to the chatter of, oh my God, yeah, did you see that? Oh yeah, did you see that? Oh, I heard that on Joe Rogan that he didn't do this, that, and the other. And so it's just adds to the chatter, but it's not because of them. But word of warning, 8 of Wands, my favorite card in here. The 8 of Wands. So the chatter is going to bring about some sort of ruin. It will grow. It will grow and grow and grow, because this is going to happen in the homes, in the schools, in the meetings, in the town halls, and the this and the that, to where what they say just gets a little bit worse and a little bit worse and a little bit worse, until you start to blame things on him. The Knight of Wands, progression, moving. Yeah, we're moving towards the ruin already. The fights and the ruin. We're moving towards that. And then the podcasters just add to it. 4 of Swords, there's some retreat, some relief, people pulling back. And then there's the Moon, the uncertainty. People maybe looking at their lives crumbled down, past tense, and saying, where did I go wrong? That's not the Tower. The Tower is you can look at the rubble and see where you went wrong. But the Moon, you're not quite sure what happened to you now just then. Because Republicans are not the most transparent people in the world. But I don't think the podcasters are going to bring about the change. I think they're going to add to, there's your government, they're going to add to the problems. Well, we shall see.